Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Ace and Ektar Heroes of the Storm casting podcast. He's still Ace, I'm still Ektar. Welcome back to the podcast.
I appreciate that it's called a casting podcast to get that extra cast inside that ridiculous intro. I love it.
Yeah,
The casting podcast.
We really want people to know what we're about. No ambiguity.
Yeah, absolutely. And tonight we are all about Illidancing Queens versus Durotan's Couch out of C East.
Yep, we have a veritable battle of the boards as we have Born to Shine versus Captain Wedge as the respective captains of those teams. How do you think this matchup's going to shake out? Just broad strokes.
Oh, we also have, you've got a board caster here too. B-O-A-R-D, not B-O-R-E-D, by the way.
You don't know my emotional state.
Hey. Fair enough. I don't know much about these teams because I have not played them before, and I don't think we've seen them. But what I see from this synergy in draft is incredible. First off, I want to point out, although we can't see it in lobby, rather,
I did shift so they can see the
Durotan's Couch has not only portrait synergy, but rainbow border synergy. That is
genuinely impressive.
That is actually level manipulation to an impressive degree. And on the left side for Illidancing Queens, we've got a Kerrigan and her 4 Zerglings, and as 2 Zerg players here, they've captured our heart. So these teams are starting strong.
It's gonna be hard to root against either of these teams, and if you're not tuned in to the standings right now, Illidancing Queens is currently number 6, and Durotan's Couch is number 7. So we have, in theory, a very competitive match ahead of us as well.
That does mean we have that wonderful 3-game opportunity because
everyone loves
we wouldn't
a rubber match.
Absolutely. Do we know the origin of the term rubber match? Why is it rubber?
I have
I
no
feel
idea.
like it's a baseball term, but I feel like I've heard that a bunch from baseball. But you know what? They're the only sport that does major sport that does series instead of individual games. So.
Hockey, unless you don't consider that a major sport. I grew up in South Canada, so it's I might be a little bit biased in the hockey regards.
But they don't do like 3 games against one team at a time. You'll have like a season series, but
no, they do in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, in the playoffs. Everybody does it in the playoffs.
Anywho, get out of here with your real physical sports. We're all about the esports tonight, as we've got Vala and Rhaegar getting banned out. 2 target bans coming out against the Illidancing Queens, and we've got the Deathwing and Ariel, the very meta bans, coming out against Durotan's Couch.
The nerfs from yesterday have not convinced Illidancing Queens that permitting Deathwing nor Ariel would be a good idea. So, honestly, agree. Until it kind of gets solved and they find out Res isn't that crazy or it's still crazy, it's just a good safe ban if you're not prepared for it.
And Crystal Aegis wasn't touched, and that's still a fantastic ult, so not terribly surprised seeing the Ariel ban. Like, the Res nerf was like the gentlest nerf to a character I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's accurate. Range was reduced from 7.5, and the cast time from a half a second to a half second more, and that's not a whole lot of a difference, to be quite honest.
Yeah, and the strength of the actual ability itself is completely unchanged.
Yeah, and that's where it's actually ridiculous, is that if you can pop that res immediately after somebody dies, they'll be back in 3 seconds and be able to work with your team again. And oftentimes, that means your tank will probably have it's usually the tank to die, they'll have their cooldowns and all this stuff. So, yeah, we're talking about a band here. Let's talk about draft, actually. We've got a Greymane Arthas and Anduin picked up for Durotan's Couch. That's an interesting Arthas right there.
It is, but if you land that Frozen Tempest, is that the ability? No, that's the
Howling Blast.
The Howling Blast. If you land the Howling Blast, then it's really easy for Anduin to follow up with both Chastise and the Light Bombs, so it's very strong if Arthas can get that engage, and even Greymane can be used to engage with just raw Light Bomb on Dark Flight.
That's a cool little combo using Dark Flight to engage. You have a guaranteed shot with Curse Bullet as well on a rooted target, so lots of synergy possible, but it is a little bit of execution heavy. Meanwhile, on Illidancing Queens, Johanna and Stukov, just good heroes. It doesn't show anything into the draft, really, other than they prefer wave clear and healing, which is good.
Yeah, and banning out the Uther. Uther is extremely strong with Anduin, and also even with Arthas, just because it's so much lockdown and stun potential that... I mean, Uther's been more popular, I almost feel like, since he got his little tank nerf. I guess it just brought some attention to how strong he is in that role. But we do have the Jaina and the Blaze getting picked up, and Jaina is some of the best damage to follow up on CC, and Blaze is just really good CC, so very strong combo coming up from the side of the Illidancing Queens.
Yep, and it does appear to be a Soul Lane Blaze. That, or there's going to be some kind of funky pickup from Yutaru at the bottom, but more than likely going to be that Soul Lane Blaze. We have Leo and Gul'dan picked up, so Soul Lane Leo and very, very good wave clear and very good shrine clear Gul'dan here for Durotan's Couch rounding out their draft.
I do just want to touch on the Zul'jin ban that we had earlier coming out from Durotan's Couch. That is also a target ban. They've run Vala in, I think, 10 of their games so far this season, and almost every time they don't run Vala, they run Zul'jin. So they're really big into those auto attack heroes. And we've got recently nerfed Maiev making an appearance.
Ektar, don't do this to me. Why must they make me? I was going to try and go the whole game without mentioning it, and now I have to mention the Maiev changes.
So tell us about the Maiev changes.
Cruel Chain was taken out behind this shed and then shot and, I don't know, buried, and I don't even know what else. They
definitely given the old yellow treatment on that talent.
Yeah, but, you know, every part of her, I mean, it hurts because, as I was talking with Jack earlier, it is the creativity and the expression of skill. I think the phrase was expression of skill that Cruel Chain brought was the, fundamentally coolest part. Rainbow portraits. And that's gone. But the rest of her kit is still really strong. So, I mean, I can't argue with the pick. Love the hero. And that looks like a very Lurk Patrol draft there on the left side with Illidancing Queens. So I like that.
We don't have a Jaina player. Come on.
Accurate. Kind of. Yeah, that's exactly how I think about that. And everybody thinks about Jaina for us.
Alrighty, and we have spawning in the blue trunks on the left-hand side the Illidancing Queens with Born to Shine playing the Stukov, Pina Colada playing Johanna, Seztren playing the Blaze Yotaru on Maiev, and Hooked on Phoenix playing the Jaina.
And in the red trunks on the right side of the map, we have Durotan's Couch, one of two teams that's been here since Season 1. We've got Soln on Anduin, Gohan on Gul'dan, Wildcard on Greymane, Captain Wedge on Leoric, and Big Egg Roll tanking it on Arthas.
So checking out the level 1 talents as one is want to do at this point in the game. We do have the Fealty Unto Death, which I think is a little bit of an interesting pickup coming out from the Leo. But I mean, it's never bad value, and especially these objectives are so close to the lanes that you can just get value of it all the time, even during the objective. But otherwise, it looks like, for the most part, pretty standard talents coming out at level 1. Talk to me about Naisha's Memento, Ace. I'm not familiar with Maiev's talents, but I never see you take that one.
Well, there's two major builds with Maiev. One is the pull build, which in actual competitive play has a lower win rate and was never taken by the pros. Naisha's is important because it makes your auto attacks bounce, and it's good for a camp player. Actually, Big Egg Roll is going to get comboed down, but actually gets pulled out by Solon, so nice job there.
Good use of an 80-second cooldown. Could have been quite a bit of damage, maybe even forced a very early tap from Big Egg Roll, but as it was, trading out one cooldown for not having to use another is probably going to do them pretty well, even though they are before the 1 minute mark.
Yep, 1 minute mark. Obviously, one of our favorite memes to talk about, because it is when you can tap before and it'll still be up before the objective. Very important mark is it's like some bottom soak. Oh, never mind. XP globes.
Looks like just one XP globe was missed on the side of the Illidancing Queen, so very small advantage for the favor of Durotan's couch, but almost immeasurably small. Wedge gets a little bit of a pull, does end up popping that E so he can get out of there. Probably would have been a bit better to pop it so he didn't get pulled back in the first place, but, you know, very, very small optimizations.
Yep, and it is just, what is it, Durotan's couch pulling just ahead in the rotations of it, which is why you see them on the bottom camp here. Arthas actually going to get tethered in. Pull, Anduin save is not up, and Big Edgrol is taken out again by the Stukov Silence plus, Weighted Pustule plus the Maiev pull. That is a nasty little combo that we're all too familiar with.
Yeah, and with, again, Jaina, the queen of following up on predictable CC. As soon as that pull came out, Blizzard came down and just a ton of damage chunked into Arthas there. As we see, Solon is now splitting out into the mid lane so they can at least try to maintain that XP differential pretty close. Is not going to get pulled in by Yotaru, and otherwise the Durotan's couch is going to be looking to fix up their rotations a little bit, and it looks like they're going to try and take their Bruiser camp as the objective is now starting to spawn.
Yep, but it's a little bit surprising. Illidancing Queens did not opt to go towards their Bruiser camp or do a whole lot with that advantaged kill, as Yotaru does attempt to make a gank onto Gohan, but he just walks away on the mountain, does a good job. So, yep, objective spawns here, level 6 for both teams, but very importantly, Captain Wedge finishing up the Bruiser camp in the top lane is going to push, but it does give a nice early lead over to the side of Illidancing Queens for these skeletal defenders.
Yeah, and with as much shrine clear as they have between the two tanks, they actually have a lot of ability to just clear out really quick. It's 17 before the opponents are even able to make 5 people get onto the point. Wedge taking a lot of damage in the backline from that Blizzard. Is going to use the Wraith Walk to get out, but Hooked on Phoenix is the first to fall as the Greymane and Arthas just kind of walked in on her, and were able to put that damage out.
Yeah, that was a great job by the, as you said it, Greymane Arthas combo to now secure a second set of kills with the help of Captain Wedge there. And that's a really... They had to force that fight pretty quickly because of their early deficit in the Shrine minions. And now they, looks like they'll be able to pick it up with the Shrine Clear power of Gul'dan before Illidancing Queens can re-engage, and that'll be first objective headed over to the red side here.
Yeah, Jaina, or rather, Johanna might be the queen of just walking aggressively at the enemy team, but you can't really deny Arthas' ability to do that either, especially with his relatively low mobility as the side of the Illidancing Queens are.
Yep, Punisher pulled over the wall. Looks like it is a... Oh, actually, Captain Wedge comes in on the backside with the wall coming down. Durotan's couch invades through. Yotaru's now in a bad spot and is going to get taken out. And that is a really aggressive play from Durotan's couch, paying off in a big way as it secures a full first fort from the Punisher.
That was kind of a wild flank. That was really well timed coming out from Wedge.
Yep, and well acknowledged there by Born to the Shine.
We do have Jaina in the top lane, making sure that they can get that XP. Maybe going to try and get them back. They're down a level currently, as you do have Wedge going back into the top lane. Hooked on Phoenix. Going to be able to just kind of stay in lane. There's not a whole lot that Wedge should be able to do about a Jaina in lane.
Yep, it is back to normalcy between rotations relatively soon, as we'll take a look at the quest for just a minute before we kind of get into another fight in level 10s. We do have about halfway there on the Echoed Corruption, a little over halfway on the Frost Presence. Do have it 60% done, and Fingers of Frost almost complete, actually, so the Jaina damage will increase soon. Yotaru goes in, grabs 2 on the pull. Big Eggroll's going to take a couple tower shots, but does emerge not too worse for wear there, and just a lot of health being exchanged right now.
We do have Wedge coming in to see if they can make this into a nice 5v4 before Heroics are coming in, so... Ooh, actually getting the kill out onto Arthas. Really well done by Yotaru. Is going to make it so that even with that level 10 advantage, probably Durotan's couch isn't going to be able to make any particularly strong plays here.
Yeah, being down a player is, at least by estimates, about as strong as getting level 10s, so yeah, they'll ooh, Wildcard actually goes in on the bottom camp, and that was spotted out by Illidancing Queens, who also wanted the camp. So at a 3v3, Durotan's Couch at an advantage, but Pina Colada's going to walk in, going to make a fourth player in here. Here comes the basically all the R buttons from Durotan's Couch, and now at an even fight, this is really bad for the Illidancing Queens. It is, however, they haven't lost anybody, which is actually some form of miracle, I believe.
Yeah, it was really interesting watching them. The Horrify just kind of put them into the box for Leo, but there just wasn't quite enough damage or quite long enough of a CC train to actually secure that kill out onto Maiev. And other than that, just, I mean, it's Johanna. She just kind of walked away as soon as the wall went down.
Yeah, that was a lot of big heroics used, and although most of them will be up, Horrify will be down for about 15 seconds when this second Punisher pops up. So we'll see if Illidancing Queens can make use of that small timing window that they have.
We do see Captain Wedge in the bot lane. This is going to be great for them as they can try and get closer to level 13. They won't have it for this objective, but if they manage to win, they'll have it during the push. But this does give the Illidancing Queens time to position out onto the objective first, get that nice defensive position. We did see Durotan's Couch just kind of walk into a defensive position before, but we do have the Illidancing Queens coming out and putting a huge combo out onto Gohan. We're getting pulled out by Soul, really well done by them. We have the Light Bomb comes out, hitting onto a couple. The Bunker actually doing a lot of work, putting a ton of damage into the side of Durotan's Couch, and the Jet Propulsion comes out, is going to get that first kill out onto Arthas. Pina Colada is very low, isn't quite going to go down, but it's definitely have to tap before they can re-engage. Jakaru not quite going down and getting the counter kill out onto Wedge. That's 2-0 in favor of the Illidancing Queens. They're very low, so they'll have to tap up and get some healing coming out from Born to Shine, but all things considered, really well done by them. And as long as they don't re-engage too quickly, this is going to be a very good position for them going forward.
Yeah, Stukov has some incredible throughput in healing. Can correct me if I'm wrong. Recently, Stukov mained, am I right? But his healing is great. And as you see, the health bars on Illidancing Queen basically full up. Now, Illidancing Queens are down a player because Blaze had to go deal with all those minions that Captain Wedge set up in the previous fight. Captain Wedge actually drops the Entomb, takes a bunch of damage, but Hooked on Phoenix takes a lot more. Light Bomb goes out on a wild card with the Dark Flight, and that combo goes through for a second kill onto the Johanna, and they'll have full authority over this point with an extra player and an extra talent.
Yep, really well done by them, identifying that Blaze went back, so they were able to take that disadvantageous position that they had before, and as soon as Captain Wedge came back up with that Leo talent, which is so strong, just able to turn that fight in from an even fight into a really advantageous fight for them. Really well done.
Yep, and there's absolutely nothing that can be done for the Illidancing Queen, so they're going to go out, split out to the lanes, probably pick up level 13, and then try and defend this. I would say just at the keep wall. I think defending at this top fort would just be a straight-up mistake, and would likely to lead to their untimely death.
Yeah, especially considering that Entomb is already back up again. Everything, except with the exception of Light Bomb, is up, and it's up now. So they do get a very early jump, means the Punisher is kind of confused on where it wants to go. It decides it does in fact want to go to the keep wall and not the fort. This gives them a little bit of time to put some burn damage in, as the members of Durotan's Couch were still having to finish out the damage into the top fort. So it's already down to half health. Let's see if they can follow up on this jump. A huge Curse Bullet comes out and chunks Blaze down to below half very quickly. Maiev comes in with a full combo into the Warden's Cage, into the follow-on ring, and that's going to secure the first kill out onto Anduin, the second one onto Greymane, and it is all over but for the screaming here from the side of Durotan's Couches. Gohan is not going to be able to get away. Eggroll might be able to if they're very lucky. I think we had the Punisher got that kill out into Maiev.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Got one extra jump.
An exceptionally well taken fight for the side of the Illidancing Queens. They traded out a fort for a couple of kills, but they might be able to do some things out on the map now that they've got this man advantage, and they're going to use it to invade their opponent's camp.
Yeah, that's a great job. Maiev got, I believe, a 2 or 3 person tether, and then the ring hit all 5, even after the cage went down. Captain Wedge finds himself respawning in a very awkward position and does get taken out to add a little bit of extra ghostly insult to injury. So
yeah, a little bit of hubris coming out from Wedge there, thinking, you know what, I've got Wraith Walk, I can just leave whenever I want, and Phoenix just, or Born to Shine just kind of said no.
Yeah, that silence pretty good. You can dodge it after you press E, but once that silent zone comes out, all of a sudden you are Leo in a very awkward position.
So it was scouted out by Durotan's couch thanks to Captain Wedge that this camp was being taken out, deciding that they don't want to take that team fight, potentially be down level 16 during it. Pretty shrewd decision coming up from the side of Durotan's couch. A little bit of a rotation towards the top lane. Gohan does see it, I believe, and is able to get out of there, and Captain Wedge should probably be able to get out of there. Yep, popping the very early Wraith Walk, knowing that if CC comes out, he might not actually be able to push it again.
Yeah, that is the good point. Once CC comes out, there might not be another chance at it. 16s are picked up for both sides. We do have Captain Wedge getting taken out again. Captain Wedge, you are not the immortal. You are only immortal while you are dead. You're not immortal while you're alive, and it's caught in rotation again.
Yeah, this isn't Brawl. You don't need to get that much trait value on Leo.
Oh, can't even get that much in Brawl. The respawn timers are so fast.
We do have a blind pull coming out onto Wildcard. Gonna take a ton of damage. Doesn't get taken out thanks to the excellent pull from Solm. Huge light bomb goes out onto Big Eggroll, gives him that big shield and a massive stun onto everyone on the side of the Illidancing Queens. Not quite finding a kill yet from the side of Durotan's couch. Born to Shine does get trapped by Wedge, and that is going to be her going down, making it an even 1-for-1 as both teams popped all the R buttons and even a couple of D buttons as well. And I think that this has to favor Durotan's couch just because they have more map position, having the top lane and bottom lane forts dead, as well as having a healer still alive. Their main damage is down,
that's the one.
But healers are OP.
Yeah, having a healer is pretty good, says everybody who's ever played Quick Match, and then said, not again.
Wedge, you're out in front again. Alright. The scary Maiev is not here to initiate onto Wedge. Born isn't there to keep him in position, so he will be able to walk away this time, but know that we're watching for it.
Yep, looking at 16 since this is a quick moment, actually. We do have Illidancing Queens kind of positioning for it, but they're going to have to take a very fast fight as Durotan's couch is already up 34 minions. Entomb comes out, but it doesn't land on anybody, just blocks Johanna's path. Sestrin gets a nice jet propulsion. Ooh, actually, nice fear from Gohan is going to take out Jaina. Yutaru's next to go down, and that forced fight does not work well for the Illidancing Queens. Pina Colada may be in danger depending on when that Unstoppable runs out. They have Fanaticism. They're completely fine.
Not quite getting caught in the rain, and they were able to make that escape, but that was a really good team fight coming from the side of Durotan's couch. They've kind of been getting wrecked by Maiev in a lot of these team fights, and you saw what they did there. They just kind of gently moved away from each other. Only Arthas got hit by that cruel chain, and... Oh, sorry, that's the...
That's a Talon.
Umbral Bind is the one that hit just out onto Arthas, so... Yeah, they were able to put some decent damage into Arthas, but Anduin can save any one person besides himself. He just can't save a bunch of people. And that's exactly what we saw during that team fight.
Yep, that was again, the dangers of trying to force a fight quickly is that the other team can anticipate it, and you don't have a lot of good opportunities. Now Blaze gets absolutely obliterated by a Punisher jump. Here comes a Maiev cage, actually going to get a huge amount of value. Born to Shine throws a Silent Zone in, and good lord, the resets. Yotaru pressing that Q button like there is no tomorrow, and there very well might not have been if that play wasn't made. Great job, even though he will be taken out in the end.
In case you're wondering, that's what Quick Cast sounds like.
Sure does.
So many fans.
That is also so many Q talents coming out. Imagine if they used the new and improved level 16 to do percent damage on top of it. I mean, it kind of feels like overkill, but man, they would have melted through them.
Yep. They did end up having to trade out the bottom keep. They got 4 kills for it, which is nice, but if they're not able to do anything during this next 20 seconds or so, it still won't have been worth it. As good as that team fight was, obviously it's better than losing the team fight, because otherwise they just lose the game there, but it's a little unfortunate if all the Illidancing Queens can do is clean up the lanes and take a couple of camps that are just kind of going to get cleared in the mid lane and the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, they're even on levels, which gives them the opportunity to take fights, which is absolutely not nothing. That is a big, big important deal. as they do pick up their level 20s here. But a very important thing is that Durotan's Couch still has all 6 structures up and is going to be doing a lot of catapult pressure in the bottom lane. That is going to be a thorn in Illidancing's side for basically the rest of the game until they can even up the lane pressure.
Wedge may be sensing the danger lurking in these bushes. The rest of Durotan's Couch does not. Let's see if we have the engagement coming out. Hooked on Phoenix is not going to make that engage. To be fair, they did not have their big playmaker Yataru in that team fight, so could have been pretty Monka-esque if they did decide to pull the trigger there, instead just opting to get away safely. They will likely need to win 2 consecutive team fights to turn team fights into a game here, considering they do have all of the buildings left, and we do see the mid fort is now also going to go down, so that's going to be some catapult pressure in all of the lanes. That's going to be very scary, especially because the bottom lane has that big catapult pressure with the keep down as well, and we do have the objective going to be spawning in the top lane. So the longer any potential team fight goes on, the better it is for Durotan's Couch.
Yep, and their comp does win when there's not a blow up combo initiated with the Warden's Cage, Ring of Frost, plus the now radiating Faith Blessed Shield to make it happen. Durotan's Couch now looking possibly for a cheeky backdoor. Let's see if this gets spotted out. I'm pressing the vision button. So far, Illidancing Queens has not seen it, and now the Hearth Party begins. Will they get there in time, though? It is a full health core, but we don't know if they'll get there in time with the Greymane Burn.
They are not really trying for it. They force their opponents to back, and now they're just trying to make this into a team fight. A huge blow-up goes out onto Jaina as the first person to fall. Yataru gets a pretty decent cage, but isn't able to get a significant amount of follow-up. Soln actually makes it out alive, I think, with the self-ult there. We did have Lioric go down, but we had 2 other people fall in that time. Blaze is not quite able to get out of there as Big Eggroll does catch the jet propulsion, and that should be game number 1 going in favor of Durotan's Couch, with the sort of cheeky, not really backdoor teamfight win.
It did force a team fight, and they took a great position, and for all the kind of trait value memes we threw into Captain Wedge, that Entomb was disgusting. The Buried Alive silenced out all the damage that was available for Illidancing Queens and basically just locked the fight up in their favor. Really nice job.
As not close, honestly, as that game looked, it looked like it was somewhat in Durotan's Couch's favor the whole time, as they had a consistent lead in buildings. But looking at the kills, Illidancing Queens actually got more kills than Durotan's Couch, so macro-wise, DC did a little bit better, but it was very competitive as far as just outright kill pressure went.
Yeah, and that really makes me feel like Illidancing Queens has all the components they need. They just didn't put them together in the right way, so they may have had to force fights, like at the bottom Punisher, which opened up that win condition, or just didn't quite take advantage of their team wipes in the way they needed to. So if some of the dominoes tumble a different way, plus they played a little different, I think they can easily go ahead and come back and hopefully take game 2. No, Ektar, by the sound of the typing, is furiously figuring out where we're going to next, and we'll report on this information as soon as possible.
Well analyzed.
I mean, what else could you possibly be doing?
What else I could be possibly doing? Checking up on any of the half-dozen Discord notifications that I get basically all the time. But that's not correct.
Fair enough. So
I would like to see, if possible, the Illidancing Queens pick up a more teamfight-oriented map. Not that this map was not teamfight-oriented, but Infernal Shrines, with all of its camps and its very closely packed lanes, is a very strong macro map. So if we end up seeing the Illidancing Queens on a more teamfight-heavy map, a less strong macro map, maybe we'll see things play out in their favor. However, we are getting invited now to a lobby. We do not yet know for where we are heading, but now we do. Well, Ace and I do. You guys can't see it. We're at Tomb of the Spider Queen. The Illidancing Queen's actually opting for... My girlfriend is home, so the neighbors have to let me know. Sorry about that.
That's a reasonable thing to opt for.
Yeah, the Illidancing Queen's opting for first hero pick, so Durotan's Couch gets obviously map pick, and they took us to maybe the only more macro-oriented map in the entire map pool. So
team fight oriented, macro oriented,
macro-oriented map. I think this might be the most macro map
it's
in the pool because
yeah,
there's no break. You're always macroing.
that is true. Not in the camp sense, but in the wave clear and just having to deal with lanes at all points in time, basically. So fair enough. Fair enough. I would tend to agree there from a certain point of view. But yep, waiting for the Zerglings to be hatched 2 at a time from the egg.
Appropriate because we're missing 4 people.
Sure enough. Otherwise, Born might try and 1v5 as Kerrigan, which it's possible.
If they did it 1 at a time, she might have a chance. Kerrigan is really scary in small skirmishes, but looks like we are going to have the rest of our team showing up. Probably better. Again, macro map, having more bodies is generally good on macro maps.
All right, well, you heard it here. Lost Vikings Rexar composition confirmed.
Throw a Samuro in there, and oh boy, maybe even a Nova with
Nova.
Extra clones on that
clones
talent
and
no one
rewind.
takes.
Yeah, it's always possible. I think Kerrigan, powered up from the campaign, though, could do it. Get all her abilities.
Well, yeah, every time Kerrigan kills something in the campaign, it spawns broodlings, and your roaches can spawn roachlings, and you get a lot of things off just Kerrigan in the campaign.
You also get level 70.
That's true.
Which is a bit of scaling.
Just a lot of scaling.
But you also can call down a Leviathan, which would be pretty good.
Yeah, why does Kerrigan get an Ultralisk and not a Leviathan?
That'd be pretty sick. I mean, Jimmy gets a battle cruiser. Come
Seriously.
on. Blizzard, please.
You can either get a battle cruiser sometimes or a Banshee all of the time. Well,
except when it's killed.
Most of the time.
And then it takes Swan 45 seconds to put that thing back together.
Unless you're me, then you get a Banshee some of the times because it spends an equal amount of time dead.
Actually, I want to look up the Banshee build time in StarCraft 2 and see if they went for full flavor.
Could you imagine if bunker build time in this game were accurate to StarCraft?
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Genuinely the worst ability in the game.
Duck and cover in 35 seconds, plus or minus 5, depending on the patch.
All you StarCraft fans out there, you get it.
Oh my goodness. So, in-game speed, a Banshee takes 43 seconds to build in StarCraft 2.
That's really close.
That's so close, because Jimmy's ult is a 45 second.
That basically rounds to 45.
I wonder if that would be amazing to do that on purpose. Blizzard, I might redeem you for that.
We still don't forgive you for HGC, but that's pretty good. Thank you everybody for your redeeming your literally nothings in the chat. It means exactly as much as it says.
That's yeah, very good. Redeeming literally nothing. We are in fact in the draft, although nothing has happened here on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
But nothing has happened. I get it.
But at the same time, some people who have redeemed literally nothing may not have been here this entire time. So, Ektar, how did we get here?
We got here because our parents decided that they were going to have sex 9 months before that we were born.
Wow, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
How does that work out? I can't believe that.
I mean, for me, it was actually 8 months because I was born premature, but that doesn't actually matter. How we got to Tomb of the Spider Queen is the thing that the people want to know. And how that happened is Durotan's Couch won the coin toss. They opted for first hero pick. The Illidancing Queens banned out Cursed Hollow. Durotan's Couch banned out Brax's Holdout. Illidancing Queens banned out Alterac Pass. And Durotan's Couch banned out Sky Temple. The Illidancing Queens had map pick. They took us to Infernal Shrines and lost. They opted for first hero pick, giving Durotan's Couch map pick, and they took us to Tomb of the Spider Queen. We've got very similar bans coming out
Hold
now
on a
as we had
minute.
in game number 1. However, Uther is now in the first round of bans and not the second.
Saying it's similar is half accurate. We don't have a Deathwing or an Ariel banned out in first rotation, I think, in the last 6 months.
That's true.
Or 6 weeks. 6 weeks, please. My goodness.
So let's see if... Well, I mean, last time those bans came out from the Illidancing Queens and they didn't have first pick, so maybe they're going to opt to take an Oriole or a Deathwing here.
Drumroll. Thank you kindly for taking an Ariel.
And a good Oriole skin. Why does Oriole get so many good skins?
I mean, to be fair, like, Ariel's base, like, just overall has so much potential. There's a lot you can do with it, so...
That's true.
There's a lot you can do with that kind of Ariel skin.
So I don't know how much scouting you did, Ace, but...
Absolutely none.
I'm guessing we're going to see a Zul'jin Tassadar pickup here.
That would be pretty good. That sounds like a very reasonable thing to do.
And the Illidancing Queens have run Tassadar maybe more than any team in NGS. I think they've done it in 10 games already.
That sounds like all the teams combined.
Yeah, no kidding. We do have the Mal'Ganis getting picked up actually instead. And Jaina once again getting picked up by Hooked on Phoenix. So not seeing it this round. We did see a Zul'jin getting banned out in the previous game by Durotan's Couch. Let's see if they respect that strong auto attack presence once again in game 2.
So if they ban Zul'jin, does Illidancing Queens opt for maybe a Jimmy? I mean, could do that.
I don't recall how many times that they've played Jimmy. I specifically noted the Vala and
I guess not.
Zul'jin along with the Tassadar. They don't run a Jimmy, but, you know, mayhap they now run a Zul'jin.
I mean, it is possible. They have all the slots available in their draft for it. If you want Tassadar to be the offlaner and Zul'jin to just roam in the 4-man, you can do that. That is a valid way to play this. So everything's lining up for it.
And I think it would actually go pretty well for Zul'jin because you can get those constant rotations. You can constantly get those just chip stacks in as you get, 2 auto attacks here against a tank that steps up to get gems, and a couple of auto attacks if someone is making a little bit of an unsafe rotation. And I feel like it's decently easy to get Zul'jin stacked on this map.
Yeah, it's very possible. And especially with Mal'Ganis as their tank, they do have the ability to disrupt rotations and kind of cause issues. We do have a banned Kel'Thas skin being picked up. Hope the teams fix that in due time. I do not have access to the chat, and you might not either.
Nor I. Both of us are merely spectators.
In what could be a rule-breaking incident by two teams of the board.
At least we haven't had any trains just yet.
That's my favorite rule to break, though. I don't even have it.
So
Deathwing.
We do have the Deathwing, which did not get picked by the side of Durotan's Couch. Got all the way to the last pick for the side of the Illidancing Queens. And Maiev it did a lot of work in game number 1. And you know what scares me inside of a Warden's Cage? A Deathwing.
Anything with Deathwing.
Oh, man.
Anything.
You can drop the R into there. You can just drop the W's into there. It's just...
Can drop everything.
The counter to Deathwing is mobility. And you know what counters mobility? Warden's Cage.
Sure does. So that's a little scary set of pickups for the Illidancing Queens. Thrall picked up not nearly as scary, in my opinion, as a Deathwing, but could work well. Captain Wedge does not have that escape button like Leo has, so he will have to be a little more careful this game. But
and he wasn't especially careful in the first game, so...
Correct. That is correct. That is also a pretty squishy comp on the side of Durotan's Couch. There's only one tank, but both their bruisery, kind of melee-ish, assassin-y, rangy kind of people that was nice and wishy-washy are kind of frail. So they'll have to be pretty careful. It could lead to some real large team wipe opportunities for Illidancing Queens and hopefully take us to a game 3.
Yeah, I think they maybe have even stronger blow-up potential on this map than they did on the first map. So, I mean, that's already the thing that they did well, and now they can do it even better. I just hope that it doesn't eat into the rest of their gameplay, which was maybe a little bit lacking in the first game compared to Durotan's Couch.
Strong agree on all points there, Ektar. Well done.
Why is there a locust?
Why is there a locust? What?
This is so much more interesting than
What?
the teams now spawning in the left-hand side. There's just a locust in the top lane.
What?
But, anywho, spawning in the left hand, in the blue trunks, they're the Illidancing Queens, with Pina Colada getting caught on Melganis. Hooked on Phoenix is reprising their role on the Jaina. Born to shine in her true role as the Angel of Hope. Yataru on the Warden, and...
Train mount.
Yeah,
Train mount.
And Seztren playing the Deathwing.
On the right side, because why not? We've got Durotan's Couch, the Rule Breakers. We've got Soln playing Anduin again, wild card on Kael'thas. Gohan cheating, absolutely banned forever. On the Grey Mane with the train mount. Captain Wedge on Thrall, and Big Egg Roll on Johanna.
I haven't looked at talents yet, Ace. Do you think we have a convection?
I can't imagine.
I also can't imagine. And we, in fact, do not have it. We do have the Mana Addict coming out at level 1. We do actually have a variation in build coming out for the Maiev player this time, going into your favorite build, Ace.
Favorite build? Yeah, it's a Bonds of Justice. On level 1, it does increase the pull damage and eventually the cleave damage, but the important one is a pull damage. So we'll see if they choose to try and reprise a Cruel Chain at level 16, and see how it goes. I will watch this game with great interest.
And we still have the Dragon Soul coming out from Deathwing at level 1. Was nerfed in the previous patch, but still seems to be the go-to talent, at least in this game. We do have Born to Shine going into the Searing Light. Searing Light, nailed it. So that's going to be 30% of her heal damage onto enemies, and that is all enemies, not just enemy heroes. So if you hit enough people with your heal on Ori, you can actually just basically get a free heal, especially at the later levels where the damage gets really strong.
Yeah, I can't wait till Ariel's able to full clear waves because of Reservoir of Hope. She'll be like Medivh's 20, where it just whoosh, gone with the wave.
Gone with the wave. It sounds like a
Chinese movie from the 1930s.
Classic American novel.
Fair enough. We had to watch that in Durotan
Couch
history.
with their superior wave clear has already cleared the mid lane. Jaina having to rotate down early to make sure that they don't drop any of the XP. Did give a little bit of time. Greymane initially went to try and do some damage onto that Bruiser camp. Instead, coming down to put some pressure out into Deathwing. Actually, just going to go into the bottom camp.
The gank is coming out on the bottom.
This has been identified. Yeah. Gohan leaving immediately. We do have the 4-person rotation down into the bottom lane, leaving only Melganis mid, but that means he's going to probably lose out on a little bit of XP, as Melganis is not known for his double soak ability.
Nope. Probably on the bottom of my tier list for heroes to pick on Towers of Doom. So, yeah, again, but he got everything in the mid lane, and 1 XP globe will be missed in the bottom. That is worth the invade of the siege camp. So, nice job there by Illidancing Queens, kind of fixing up some of the macro we kind of saw on Infernal Shrines.
And we actually saw that particular kind of strategy coming out from them in game number 1, where they said, you know what, we're going to take this camp and know that because of the XP globes, we're not really going to miss all that much.
Yeah, it's a consequence of the new XP system. Love it or hate it, it's around for the season. And submit your feedback to Blizzard and your friendly casters. Yataru gets a nice Umbral Mine and takes out Kael'thas, and that'll be first blood, as our announcer says, over the side of Illidancing Queens, and that's going to facilitate a bunch of turn-ins. They've got 44 gems and are very close to being able to get that first set of Web Weavers.
I do just want to point out real quick that Solm opting not to use W on the interior front gate before the start of the game is having their sword out for most of the time, and that's just always a disappointment that you never really want to see.
Yeah, it's running with scissors is an important part of any Anduin build, and we'll have to fix that up in future games, or at least step it up.
Pina Colada were able to sneak their gems in. It was seen by the side of Durotan's Couch, but they weren't actually able to do anything. Taking a lot of damage is Gohan, having to stand in that blizzard, but Hooked on Phoenix was able to get out and tap. Gohan should be able to do the same. We do see Thrall getting a little bit of XP in the bottom lane that was not being counter-soaked by the Deathwing, so that's going to do a little bit to kind of counteract the XP that they missed by having to turn over that camp initially.
Yep, and it is down to the solo laner. Nope, it is down to Deathwing versus, I think it's Johanna with all the gems. Yeah, Johanna's got 32 gems for Durotan's couch. So the rotation comes down and allows Setstrin to turn in and possibly gank Captain Wedge here as the first Web Weavers start floating in. Wedge, that is not your base.
Yep, there is no chance that he actually gets out of this alive. If the only thing he's doing right now is delaying the inevitable and giving Yataru 3 gems.
I see the effort to try and hearth in the corner, but the fort was just like, no, absolutely not. That was it's fun watching teams that know each other banter well.
Yeah.
Mow you.
We do have a 5-man push coming out in the bottom lane from the side of the Illidancing Queens. Pina Colada looking to see if they can catch Gohan. Was able to get away, but this is the bottom port going down guaranteed. That does mean that the top and mid web weavers should get cleared out pretty easily without a lot of damage. But losing the bottom lane fort is a pretty big deal. The top lane is generally considered the most important lane because that's your boss lane, but bottom lane is probably the next most important just because it's further away from the other lanes and it's harder to make rotations onto.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I haven't been playing too well or something, but I feel like I'm seeing a lot more of teams pushing into the bottom lane or not forcing top lane especially hard on the first objective phase. It may be because it's a little weak and it's hard to push with, and a lot of teams defend top, but I'm seeing a lot more bottom forts getting picked up early on in the games now.
If the opponents are defending top,
yeah,
it's like what Sun Tzu said, be where your opponent is not.
That is...
Because I have not read The Art of War. I'm sorry, Jack.
Oh, a true disappointment, but an understandable one. We do have the Bruisers picked up for Durotan's couch. Despite the deaths, both teams pretty much at the exact same XP, so maybe just a minor advantage to the Illidancing Queens getting towards 10 by about a quarter level. But it'll be really interesting to see how this affects both the turn-ins and the fights coming up.
Yep, we do see Solo turn in on Big Egg Roll with the whopping 50 gems. Looks like they're going to try and sneak a turn in the bottom lane, and it doesn't feel like this has been sniffed out by the Illidancing Queens, so this should be second objective going out in favor of Durotan's couch. The bottom lane camp does get picked up at a pretty decent time. This is going to push with the objective, as we do have the level 10s getting picked up by both sides. I missed that kill in the top lane completely out under the Kel'Thas, and that's going to take a lot of the wind out of the sails of this push.
Yeah, it was basically as you would expect. Maiev showed up, pulled a blink, pulled a tether, and Kel'Thas did a magic trick and disappeared. So, yeah, as you said, that's going to really hurt this push. You can already see Illidancing Queens pushing up, maybe a little bit early as Earthquake comes out. Here comes a combo. Gohan did not get the same go-in call that Soln did, and this is all of a sudden turning really bad. Nice pull out using the life grip from Soln onto Gohan, and that'll keep him alive, but again, more and more damage gets put out onto Durotan's couch as they're trying to push into the top lane here.
So I feel like, by and large, we're past the point in Here's the Storm where we need to call out all 10 of the ults getting picked up, just the interesting ones. We do have the Resurrect coming out from Ariel, nerfed in the last patch, but only by a very small amount. But the most interesting is definitely got to be that Dark Conversion coming out from Pina Colada.
You would think you could see that against the Deathwing. It's often been used to rip out a ton of his health. But using it with Deathwing seems like a new meta strategy to me. And no, with all the squishy targets on Durotan's couch, I don't know how much value it's going to get, but it will be up to Pina Colada to see how well that works.
Yep, I very rarely see that talent get picked up, so I'm really interested to see what kind of a decision that Pina Colada is making by going into that ult and not going into the more guaranteed value of the other ultimate. Name check.
Carrion Swarm.
That's the one. I always want to say Dark Swarm, but that's definitely not it.
That is definitely a Dahaka ability borrowed from Defilers.
Yes, we did have a little bit of an engage attempt coming out onto Big Egg Roll, but they were able to just pop that D and walk away. And we now have both teams kind of jockeying for position to see if they can get that turn in. They need all those gems on the Deathwing. We do have the engage coming out from the Maya, who gets a ton of people with that chain into the the Warden's Cage, and we do see all of the R's.
The total
so many
bloodbath
R's,
is what that was.
A lot of mayhem coming out. And it are the Illidancing Queens who end up on top at the end of that engagement. Ariel does have res available, opting not to use it and taking just the full death timer. I think that's a very smart decision coming out from them, because it's going to take a bit for the Web Weavers to come out, and what's an Ariel going to do in that time, honestly?
Wave clear. Q can do reasonable damage. Come on.
I mean, sure, but it's more reasonable to be able to bring your Melganis back to life during the next team fight.
That is a good idea, especially if that Dark Conversion fails.
Worth noting, you cannot res a Deathwing.
That makes sense, but still worth noting. I appreciate that.
So we do have the Web Weavers now spawning. We've got the 5-man offense in the top lane. Sestren is landing there to make sure that they can get the advantage. We do have Yotaro coming in for a big engagement out onto Wildcard, but the counter engage onto Yotaro with that Cursed Bullet doing a ton of damage. Gohan putting themselves pretty deep to try and secure that kill, is not able to find it. No people going down, but that's a pretty decent defense coming out from the side of Durotan's couch at this point, though we do have the kill. And the Deathwing with the hard engage, Solon was not quite able to save themselves from the shield, and that is going to be Kel'Thas following as well. We do have Maya following in the background, but Rez is a pretty good ability for turning a 4v into a 5v. Wedge is able to get out of there with the power of that, what would have been called Blood for Blood once upon a time.
Now it's called Ancestral Wrath. Because that makes sense. Thinking emoji. Drops a Nexus think.
A lot of bad things happen to Thrall's ancestors, so if they have some wrath, I can't blame them too much for it.
That is a fair statement to say. Bottom Keep actually took the most damage out of this whole thing, besides maybe the hero health bars on Durotan's couch. It does have a little less than a third of its health, probably closer to a quarter left now, and could be the target of a quick pickup by the Illidancing Queens, and will continue to be pressured by this bottom siege camp that's been picked up.
Yeah, we do have now turn-in available for the side of Durotan's couch. Again, most of them on one person, this time onto Gohan. Does not quite have solo turn-in.
One short.
One shot. Thank you for being so much better at that mental math than me. Every cast consistently. Big egg roll, bit out in front, sees the enemy team coming at him, is able to just kind of walk away. We do see now a turn-in coming out from Gohan. Again, one away, so not quite able to get that solo turn-in. Is going to get off all 31 of those gems, but once again, we had both teams kind of jockeying for position, seeing who can get that turn-in first. Turn-in a bit available for both teams. Yataru maybe indecisive, trying to decide if they want to make that engage or make that turn-in. Maybe actually just seeing if they can clear out their opponent's camp before doing the turn-in. If so, it's a very smart move. Making sure that those lanes are pushing advantageously for your team as the Web Weavers are coming down so they get even more value. Captain Wedge, sensing that he may be under attack, is able to mount up just in time. Not quite able to get the Phantom Knives to get him dismounted. Wedge,
oh, buddy.
You're in a position now, buddy.
Just while he was trying to dodge
that was
the
a
Maya.
full-on hands-off mouse and keyboard, I'm gonna die now moment coming out from Captain Wedge there.
Yep, didn't even see the death rattle go out of every ability. We saw lightning and maybe a spirit wolf. I might check that again, but yeah, that is well, guess I'll die kind of moment, as the Keep gonna be saying the same thing, as the entirety of the 5-man of Illidancing Queens will march up with the Web Weaver wave and basically knock out that Keep for free.
So we do have Cruel Chain. You'll have to let us know what you think of Yataru's team fighting from here on out.
A tear rolls down my cheek.
Yeah, she definitely dropped a tear after this last patch for sure.
There's no doubt about that.
We did have the gratuitous Cataclysm coming out from Sestren, as they know that they're just going to get an immediate reset from the fort falling, so might as well make it fall just that little bit faster, get you that little bit of extra mobility, and at actually no cost at all.
It actually just looks cool. I mean, is it Deathwing if you're not asserting dominance via using gratuitously ridiculous abilities in
I don't think you can say Deathwing and not at least think gratuitous. We did have a bit of an interesting pull coming out onto Big Egg Roll, as we do have the gratuitous violence coming out from Sestren, getting nice and deep into that back line. pulling actually the members of Durotan's couch back in with that Warden's Cage. Deathwing is the next to fall, putting themselves just a little bit too deep, and that is kind of the problem with that gratuitous amounts of violence, is sometimes you end up on the receiving end of it. But we do have the Resurrect coming out to make this a nice 4v3 instead of a 3v3. So it was 2 kills to 2 kills, but gotta say, advantage Illidancing Queens because of the power of that res. We do have the pause. Maybe we now see why that pull came out onto Big Egg Roll, is they have left the game.
Yeah, I've got the stream, or the, I guess we'll call it a replay, playing on the on my other monitor, and I'm gonna see if Johanna was just kind of standing still, preempting that fight. Goes in, kind of sits by the turn in, and no, that seems completely fine to me for right now. So doesn't look like lag at least impacted the start of that fight. So good. Hopefully we'll take that assumption. And yeah.
So while we've got a minute, we can talk about some of the rest of the talents coming out in this game. Oriel, Searing Light is, I would say, about 50-50 for standard ults, or for standard level 1s. Otherwise, pretty common standard build after that point, going for the Energized Cord. I could see why maybe you'd want to go for the hero damage giving energy if you're consistently putting the hat onto the Maiev, but otherwise the Reservoir is very standard. The Piercing Lash, pretty common pickup as well. Basically pure standard coming out from Deathwing. Looking on over at the side of Durotan's couch, a little bit of an interesting, we got full bomb build coming out from the Kael'thas player, picking up the Ignite, but also the Fission Bomb and Sun King's Fury, not opting to go into the % damage on Flame Strike at level 7 there.
That could be good for sticking onto a Deathwing and then using his large hitbox to spread bombs with. That's a possibility, albeit % damage, also good against Deathwing, so it's an optive choice, I suppose.
And we've actually got Cocktail build coming out from Greymane. I don't see a whole heck of a lot of Greymane because Bickle isn't online very often, but is that still the standard build? I know it was like 3 years ago when I last played Greymane regularly.
Incendiary Elixir is a choice at 7. They didn't take any of the other Cocktail talents, which is fine. Let me try and remember. I'm going to go over to the Greymane, pull up those level 7 talents. You do have Quicksilver Bullets is the common one, which increases your range by 1.1 or 20%, or however Blizzard wants you to describe it at this point. So that one's the most common, but you can easily take Incendiary Elixir. It's just a different form of poke.
Alrighty then. And just kind of looking at what we've got for the general map position that we find our teams in, definitely in favor for Illidancing Queens, as they only have the 1 fort down, and Durotan's couch has all their forts down as well as bottom keep, so definitely in Illidancing Queen's favor, as we have now the 3-2-1 go from Captain Wedge. We do still have turn-in available for the side of Durotan's couch, but Illidancing Queens have headed on up into the top lane, seeing what they can do in the top lane there, as they do see several members of Durotan's couch are in the mid and bot lanes, and they know they've got 2 kills, so relatively free boss coming out in favor of them.
Yep, Deathwing just floating in the sky above, and we'll see if he even decides to join, but he could always join if somebody showed up and basically turn the entire fight, so good call not engaging by Durotan's couch. I kind of would like to see him pick up a web weavers there. They have enough for a second turn in, so getting one here to de-push their lanes and push against the boss might have been a reasonable idea in that situation.
Perhaps just wanting to try and make this defense on their own power and give them a stronger position when they actually make that eventual turn-in, as they're almost at the point where they have double turn-in. So if they're able to make this defense without losing too much, which would be basically the key for game, could be really good for the side of Durotan's touch. So give the ring, not actually landing on anyone. Sesker puts himself deep into the backline. Johan's able to get out. Big Egg Roll's taking a lot of damage. Is actually the light bomb goes out on the Captain Wedge. We do see Anduin actually is the first person to go down, and the Thrall followed immediately. Actually, after that, Johan is the third person to fall, and looks like they were not able to make that defense. Maybe they should have gotten that turn in, and it looks very dangerous, like we're going to be going to a game number 3 here.
Are these bombs? It feels like these bombs are spreading forever right now. Wildcard's actually getting a ton of value from the living bombs, but it does get a Jaina kill. And Gohan actually going ham on the enemy team, picking up 2 kills, but Resurrect continues to be a good ability, and the equalizer goes over to Illidancing Queens.
A couple of not so serious accusations coming out there from Captain Wedge, saying that the Illidancing Queens are cheaters. We know he doesn't mean it.
I mean, Durotan's couch legitimately cheated with the train mount. How dare they?
Big facts actually coming out there, Ace. Checking the score screen, much less close this time, as we have the 18-7, just showing why Ariel and Deathwing have been perennially banned since their changes and introduction, respectively.
Yeah, Deathwing did actually a stupid amount of damage that game.
Deathwing did all the things.
Every
category that Deathwing can light up is lit up.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That's pretty good. So expecting some Deathwing, maybe some Maiev ban coming forward, but that is a pick your poison kind of option. Durotan's couch so far has been opting to ban out the Vala, the known threat, and it is leaving everybody else available to do whatever they want. So Durotan's couch is going to be in a little bit of a tough drafting position here.
All right, I asked Captain Wedge, do you want hero pick or map pick? To which I was told, Born is making the lobby. Reading between the lines, that seems to mean that Durotan's couch have chosen first pick, and the Illidancing Queens have map pick. But people can't just use their words. They've got to imply things and make me infer what they mean from it.
How dare we use the inferring skill? Don't worry, I'll just roll and see if it goes decently. You have a little D20 bot somewhere. Jeez.
Oh my god, how do we not have that yet?
I thought we had one on the NGS Discord, but apparently we don't, and that's a real shame.
Yeah, that's a big fail from us, honestly.
Honestly, why is it? Yeah, why is that not on our end of season reviews every time? And it's a very important thing. So, map 3, Born Shine's making the lobby. Where do we think Illidancing Queens are going to go? We have BOE, Dragonshire, the Vikingsable Towers, and Volskaya left.
It's almost certainly going to be BOE or Volskaya. Both teams actually play almost the same maps, which is Infernal Shrines, Volskaya, and Battlefield. The only difference being one team prefers Battlefield over Volskaya, and the other team prefers Volskaya over BOE. But it was those 3 maps for both teams in most played.
Very reasonable. So I think, if I were to guess, I would say they'd go to BOE because of the positions they like to run. But obviously, it will be a mystery until Born to Shine invites us to her created lobby. So
that is big facts coming out there.
Yeah, these are large, if proven accurate. Ooh, so say you're in Durotan's couch position. You do have first pick, as I kind of expected him to do. It basically gives you a bonus ban. What do you do about all the threats that you've identified this series?
So somehow Maiev made it into a second game. I really expected her to get banned out after the first one.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I suppose this is just Durotan Couch saying, Maiev is scary, but we think that your Tassadar auto attack combo is scarier, so that's why they've been consistently banning it out. Having not actually seen that comp get played by Illidancing Queens and only knowing that they've done it a bunch, I might say, let's get them off that Maiev. We can deal with auto attack heroes in other ways. We have first pick, so we can get that Johanna. And I think what I would be looking for more than anything is a team comp adjustment more than a map adjustment, but we're definitely going to have a big one of those as we find ourselves on the Towers of Doom, the last good Vikingsable map in the pool. getting picked up for the side of the Illidancing Queens.
That's slightly surprising. I think we were talking beforehand, and that was not necessarily like high on the list of maps that could be chosen, but it has been chosen, and I, for one, think this is the best map that's remaining because I really like this map overall.
I also really like this map. I do also really like Volskaya, so I don't know if I necessarily prefer one or the other.
As a player, I think I prefer Volskaya just a bit right now.
Except for that third objective.
But Towers of Doom is so much fun to watch, and thematically and aesthetically is one of the coolest maps with the Gravekeeper and the Raven Lord, and I just love the theming of it all. It's really cool. So, I mean, I like it as a spectator a ton.
It's true, and I do think the Raven Lord versus the Gravekeeper is a really interesting map bit of lore, as we do have all of these realms and Nexus Lords and all of those things that they talked vaguely about in the comics for 4 episodes. I do think that makes for a really interesting design, as you have 2 obvious competing entities on this map, where that's not necessarily true on the other maps, where it seems like you're competing for the favor of one individual. Except with the obvious exception, of course, being Alterac Pass.
BOE. Oh, or BOE.
And BOE.
And I guess by extension, Infernal Shrine. So half the maps.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tend to agree with you. I also just love the green theming. The dark green and black with the, as you can kind of see in our lobby background, the large supermoon. It's so cool overall, and the music is also so good. If you haven't looked up the soundtrack for Heroes of the Storm, the OST for this map, oh my goodness, it's so good.
And additionally, this it matches that one Alex Straza skin. That's my personal favorite skin. Just
the Halloween,
yes,
green glowing one.
Oh, so good.
So good.
We've got the R's coming out from all of the requisite party leaders, so we are going to have the lobby going just as soon as Blizzard decides that the game is going to load.
But we don't have level 10s. How can they use their R?
Moving on.
Thanks, I appreciate it. That's about what that deserved.
If that. We do have, once again, with the first pick opportunity, Durotan's Couch. Who do they respect? That's the question.
I think you go Vala. You have to threaten the Deathwing. Illidancing Queens ban Deathwing first time. So you have to think that they think it's enough of a priority to ban out. Now, they didn't do it game 2, but
they had first
because they might have had plans. Correct. So I think you ban Vala and Maiev here. Just judging by history, they're going to ban Vala, and they do.
They have
but
banned
I think
out
they have
Rhaegar
to
in all 3 games, but honestly, Maiev is so scary.
Yeah, that's... Alright, Velcomer's getting banned from the chat. Have a nice day. Thank you very much for participating in this Heroes of the Storm podcast. Ariel banned out by Dancing Queen. And gone. Absolutely. Just eliminated.
Can't come into my Twitch channel and bring that in here, Volcomer, especially not during draft, where I can just easily tab out and purge your chat.
Especially with the new Ektar Love emote. Is that what it is?
Yes, it is.
Ektar Love with the new Wooloo. Please slam that in chat at the appropriate moment.
Oh my god, please nobody use that in chat, because that means you scribed at more than the tier 1 level, and I can't handle that. No one should subscribe to anyone beyond the tier 1 level.
Oh,
We do have a change up in bans, though, deciding that actually it's the Jaina follow-up to the Maiev that's the real threat here. And that's not the worst decision.
No.
Certainly not. Jaina's always a great ban. She's done spectacular even in times where we don't have the full Warden's Cage combo, just following up on the Umbral Binds. So, a shrewd ban coming out saying that it's actually the follow-up that's scary, not the initial engage from the Maiev.
We'll see if that's a 5-head play or a 3-head play coming up, and where Illidancing Queens decide to prioritize the threat of Maiev in this draft, because the threat exists one way or the other.
So, Illidancing Queens making a real big gamble coming out with that Leo ban. There's a couple of things that could mean. There were several opportunities in game number 2 for Durotan's Couch to pick up Deathwing, and they didn't. So maybe they're saying, we don't think that you're going to take Deathwing, even given the opportunity, which means we can make our ban somewhere else. Alternatively, banning out Leo is a counter to Deathwing, saying that we can pick up the Deathwing, one of his best counters is off the table, and we can make ourselves even stronger for a late game or a later draft Deathwing pickup. Finally, Leo's real good at double soaking, and that's a really popular strategy on this map recently. So maybe we'll see the Illidancing Queens go into something like a Zool or a Malthael with that Pale Horse to try and double soak mid-top and do a lot of pressure in the bottom lane.
All valid strategies and valid opinions. But we do have Maiev picked up again for the 3rd game in a row.
Will it be a third build in a row?
Can I play for this? Like,
Ace, you're never allowed to play in Div C again. I thought we established that.
Oh, I've been banned. Oh gosh.
So we've got
but I just want to play
out. That could once again go into that Deathwing pickup if they're allowed to do it. That's probably
they have to be going into it, right?
You say that. It could just be a debate. Or it could just be... Like, it's almost too obvious at this point.
Thank goodness.
You know what? They could go into Cho'Gall from here.
Oh my god.
And that's too...
He's got buffed.
Banning Cho'Gall counters and banning Deathwing counters are the same counters.
Oh no! Oh god, the new buffed Cho'Gall upheaval at 40 seconds. Like, who thought this was a good idea? Blizzard apparently has, like, Cho'Gall mains in their office, and that's just... Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. Stukov main thing.
Alright, we're not living in the darkest timeline where both of the raid bosses are available and getting picked up. We do have Stukov once again.
We have Ragnaros available.
Ragnaros is in fact a raid boss, but much less scary. Like, how many expansions have come out since he was a real threat?
I haven't played Warcraft, so...
Exactly.
Fair enough, well played. Ready Player One Jimmy and a Dahaka picked up. Oh, that is a horrifying Dahaka. That skin is an abomination upon man.
No, Stitches is an abomination upon man. Get it right.
That's also true. Things can be multiple things.
That is a big fact. Hot take, Wedge picks Uther and swaps with Big Egg Roll. You're going to be disappointed 40 seconds from now. We do have the Zool getting picked up. That's really interesting. I love that they picked it up last.
Yep. That's really good. They have the double soak capability. Dahaka will have to go race car build to catch up, which can be done. Dahaka is not the S tier of double soakers like Zool, Leo, and Malthael. Yeah. I think those are like the 3 S tiers. But Dahaka can do it in like the A tier kind of area. So
I'd say B tier.
Upper B tier?
Sure. We'll say upper B tier.
Just because the global can provide him some sustain and everything. So
it's true.
Advantage for that to Zool, but it'll be on Captain Wedge to cover it, and on the 4-man of Durotan's Couch to repel the 4-man push of Illidancing Queens, which I think Chromie can do well.
So even going race car build, I think Dahaka brings more to a team fight than Zool does.
Accurate.
So we'll have to see how the side of Illidancing Queens are able to parlay their expected XP advantage and rotational advantage coming out from the Zool to get extra pressure as we get into our game number 3. For all the marbles we have spawning in the blue trunks on the left-hand side, the Illidancing Queens, with Seztren playing the Zool, double soaked Zool, presumably. Pina Colada is playing the Melganis, Born to Shine playing the Stukov, Yotaru 3 for 3 on the Maiev, and Hooked on Phoenix playing Leming.
And in the red trunks, Durotan's couch. We've got Big Aggro playing ETC. Captain Wedge on Dahaka. They're covering up the names with their text because I use the tab menu like a cheater. Gohan playing Rainer. Son playing Anduin. And Wildcard playing Chromie.
Not gonna lie, that's the worst thing about casting a Medivh player, is they just immediately go into bird form and then you have to open up another menu to see the name if you don't remember it.
Yep, that is the struggles of the caster in 2020. It is a difficult thing. Yatar goes in, blinks in, is stacking the Bonds of Justice again. As a very fast side note, I did not see a single tick of Cruel Chain whatsoever in Game 2, so...
Looked like Seztren for just a moment forgot what lane he was supposed to be in, as he was halfway down to the bottom lane before rotating up to the top lane. So that's going to be actually a significant slowdown, because if he got there at roughly the same time as Dahaka, would have been able to get a nice aggressive positioning, start cleaning that lane really fast. As it is, he has to push into Dahaka, who already had some damage done in the mid lane, and it looks like because of that, the members of Illidancing Queen are going to have to break up their 4-man, rotate 2 to mid to pick up that XP once, while Zool contends with Captain Wedge and already taking half damage, tapping at the 1 minute and 19-second mark.
Yeah, kind of just watching that soul lane for just a second. Actually, Atara's going to go ahead, pull out a tether to save Born Shine, who was able to get out, but... I was watching the top lane for a little bit, and Dahaka just kind of walked at Zool and was a presence. Because Dahaka can trade health better, if Zool and Dahaka line up in the same lane, Zool can't actually step up and clear, so that's a pretty important dynamic that I don't think we touched on a whole lot. So
worth noting, Dahaka did not go into race car builds, so as the game goes on, things should be going progressively in the favor of Zool as he gets increased wave clear, and Dahaka with his movement speed just kind of can't keep up. So likely we'll have to see Durotan's couch rotate some people out of the bottom lane to try and help catch up in a way, or put some ganks out onto the Zool. Although they don't have very strong gank pressure outside of the power slide.
Yeah, that is a little bit lacking, but teams are fighting currently in the bottom lane for Sapper Camp superiority. Looks like both of them will be taken out, and neither one Supreme today, so... Yep, just the standard first altar phase. We should see the gentleman's agreement to take one in the top. Then Captain Wedge might be able to join his team in the bottom lane with that global capability, and possibly have a short window of advantage.
We do see the members of Durotan's couch splitting a few members out so that they can get that XP and not worry about Captain Wedge having to walk down and soak as well as trying to get down to the objective. We do have a single pull coming out onto Big Egg. Actually not even getting the pull. Pina Colada taking quite a bit of damage is able to get out of there with the Night Rush. As we do have a pretty good position for the side of Durotan's couch, and it looks like they just barely don't get the interrupt with that Shade of Vengeance.
I have Shade. Yeah. Could call him the Shade of Vengeance. That is the full name. Well done there. But yeah, it seems like Illidancing Queens just got zoned out a little bit with that momentary Dahaka pressure that was afforded to them. So nice job there by Durotan's couch, taking a small early lead here, just up by 4.
And they will have slight advantages in a lot of these teamfights just because Wildcard is going to have talents 2 levels early, which means that they're going to have a heroic in time for the next objective, and nobody else is going to do that.
Yeah, that is
a bit of a gank rotation up coming up from Hooked on Phoenix. Just hasn't yet been scouted out by Captain Wedge, who does engage pretty hard out on Seztren, but not able to make anything happen from it. It looks like Hooked on Phoenix is just going to go and try and secure that camp instead.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to gank. It's going to be hard to gank a Dahaka because of the burrow negating the only CC that the pair of them have. So, yep, it does look like it's just for the lane pressure. If they could push up, get the front wall, or even possibly get the well, that would be a little bit tougher, but possible. That could change the soul lane dynamic a lot. Or rather, the double lane dynamic. However, it kind of lines up.
You can see Yutaru make the rotation just quick enough to hit the minions that had died, but not yet had the XP globes disperse in the bottom lane, so not losing out anything in that regard. We do see the slowing sands coming out from Chromie. Not as strong as it once was, but still a very powerful zoning ability, especially when there are no other abilities to counter it. And we've got the full Chromie bunker being set up with the Enderhall Anomaly, just securing a huge area, getting the follow-up route onto Pina Colada set up by the knockback on E2Z. We got a lot of damage coming out, not quite able to follow up the skeletal, the Bone Prison with the Lurking Arm. We've got the full 5v5 team fight. Chromie does have rolled down in the back line. We do have Pina Colada being pretty deep. Maiev goes in, gets the chain out onto 2. Gets the pull only because Eggroll actually moved further away, but Maiev is the first one to go down, and Pina Colada is pretty low as well. Sahaka's not quite able to land the tongue. Very low health bars on the side of Durotan's couch. Wildcard actually doing a really good job of putting their health bar in between them and everybody else, just to make sure that Hooked on Phoenix can't start getting those very important resets.
Yeah, and that's a Chromie putting herself in the way. That is some really solid heads-up play there by Wildcard. Yeah, Chromie opting for the slowing sands, I think, is a pretty important factor. Nice dodge there by Hooked on Phoenix, evading the slide. That helps a lot more in sustained fights, whereas if you want to nuke down an enemy, you reset them to their position, and you go ahead and reduce all your other cooldowns rapidly. So, interesting pickup there. Look and see if we see anything else in the interesting heroics department as 10s are picked up now for both sides. Dark Conversion again. Look at that.
We do not have the Rainer's Raider coming out from the side of Durotan's couch, opting instead for the Hyperion, so able to get a slightly stronger damage for a much shorter period of time, especially in the teamfight department. Gank attempt coming out onto Sestra, and that is the good follow-up coming out. Missing, I'm seeing things, I thought I saw Bloodlust for a second. A huge chain coming out, hitting 4 members. And the follow-up coming out from Elganis is hitting onto several people. Only one person inside the cage, and it's Wedge, who is the most able to take some of that damage. They are still falling, however, as they did go into isolation and not the adaptation, so not able to sustain that much teamfight damage.
Yeah, that was a... there was a commitment from Durotan's couch to try and get the kill, and Maiev is actually incredibly good at punishing grouped-up commitment to trying to get a kill. So nice job there to secure the kill. Dahaka does have the burrow available, so he'll be able to burrow into this fight as there are 2 fights going on at the same time. 3v2 in the bottom and Chromie poking out the top.
Chromie does get the interrupts out under there, and just very at the end catching the Zul kill there. We did hear the Dark Conversion start to come out, but not getting picked up. Wildcard has done so much work here, stopping at one point 3 different heroes from getting the channel out of this. So they get the channel in the bot lane, and it looks like they're going to get the channel in mid as well. Very well done for the side of Durotan's couch, and especially Wildcard for getting all of those interrupts and just not dying when there was a Maiev there.
Yeah, that was really well done. Again, Wildcard had the Chromie bunker set up with all the time traps, so it was difficult for the pressure to come out, and just constantly was able to cycle between locations and sandblasts to poke out, I think it was both Yutaru and Born on there, and give his team advantage in the bottom team fight. So really, really well done. Can't understate that enough.
Checking the XP totals, we actually have an advantage coming out from the side of Dahaka over the Zul. We have a huge combo coming out from Maiev. Is going to secure 3 hero kills, more likely than not. Solon actually able to get away, just barely, thanks to the power of the shield on that light bomb. Normally when you think of light bomb, you think of the big, meaty stun, but that shield is nothing to scoff at. It's nearly as strong as a Metamorphosis from Illidan, but it also stuns.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good when you put it... Wow! Alright, well, the Maiev combo does come through for Illidancing Queens, putting him right back in this game. They've kind of evened up the bot lane pressure, evened up the kills Everything pretty even right now. I think one of the big deals that comes online here at 13 is that Seztran gets that rapid harvest that allows him to just swing faster and faster and faster and just increases double soak potential even more and make him have at least a reasonable amount more teamfight potential as he can heal for a ton of damage in the middle of the enemy team.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of damage. Luckily, there's only 2 frontliners coming off of the side of Durotan's couch. Maiev coming in for the big combo again, gets the pull out onto several, but it's actually... No, Giannis is the first one to fall. Solon gets brought down very low, is likely going to have to tap, otherwise the Ming sets are going to be very real in this team fight. Yataru does try to go in, does get a little bit of damage onto Big Egg Roll, but the members of Durotan's couch really need to tap and try to come in back in on this. Maybe not even try to stop that objective, as Born to Shine is going to use the shove to make sure that the swipe to make sure that no one can actually get that interrupt, and that is going to be an objective picked up at the cost of 1 hero kill, but it's probably worth it. It's getting to the point where 12 is not an insurmountable lead, but it's a significant lead.
Yeah, but 20 would be a lot worse. 16 to 36 is a lot more pressure where you have to start taking things you don't have to, so I think that was good from Durotan's couch to kind of just play it slow, not force anything they didn't have to, and yeah, just go ahead, take their fights when they can. Solon didn't have tap for another 15 seconds when that fight went down, so yeah, it would have just been dangerous with the Li Ming.
We do see both of the soul laners coming down here to make sure that their own team can pick up their camp in an advantageous position. Captain Wedge is the first to rotate out, and that's actually very strong for them. Yataru looking to see if they can find anything. Chromie actually finding the Melganis in the bushes there, so gonna have to back out. Not likely to find a lot here. They are up 5 in the bot lane. This gets identified by the side of Durotan's couch, and it looks like they had... Oh boy, that's a big combo coming out onto Gohan. The pull actually getting him out of there, though, so... Only 1 ult getting popped for the favor of Solon's D cooldown. But that could have gone much worse for the side of Durotan's couch.
Yep, Zul's main damage in the team fight is down. He actually did a lot of damage in the fight with the Poison Over plus, again, the Curse Strikes. So,
yeah, but it's all gone now. We do see
the
Illidancing look like they want to make the hard invade, trying to take that Dahaka out before anyone notices, and Wedge sees it, is able to avoid most of the damage coming out from Durotan Phoenix, but I don't know that they're going to have an oh yeah, it's wild card there, they're going to have an interrupt. But we do have the pull coming out onto 2, not actually able to secure anything. No healer for the side of Durotan's couch. We do have the big interrupt on the Dark Conversion coming out. That would have been a massive turn in this team fight, but actually losing the 5v4 in the top lane are the Illidancing Queens, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the second time Dark Conversion has been interrupted, and I think that's one of the dangerous things about taking that ult into an ETC with 2 interrupts in the base kit, one of which has a cooldown reduction on 13, which wasn't taken, but still possible. That ability can get interrupted all the time, and you're practically not taking a heroic at that point. That's a little scary as your tank player, but...
Even Gohan has an interrupt with the penetrating shot.
Yeah, there's so many... Yeah, so many different, just short cooldown, dangerous things that could happen. Yataru wants to do something under this fort, but is slowed down enough that it's really not very possible. 16s on both sides now, so you can see Illidancing Queen's a little more poised to take a fight here. But again, they're behind.
Seztran did try to make a flank happen, but opted out of it at the last second, possibly realizing that there were going to be traps put down by the Chromie that would have given his position away, and in fact there were. So not actually going into the flank. Dahaka wasn't there at the time, so that maybe could have been an advantageous team fight for them, but the members of Durotan's couch were able to back out just in time. Dahaka is burrowing down now to make this 4v4 into a 5v4, see if they can get the CC out onto... Yeah, that's a very dead Melganis. No amount of converting is going to save him there.
Ooh. That orb hurts pretty hard, though, but it will get healed up. But yeah, absolutely. Oh, Captain Wedge actually gets a tongue on the Born to Shine. That's a second kill picked up, and this is actually really dangerous here for Illidancing Queens. They do have lethal being threatened with 2 towers and a boss, so It looks like Durotan's Couch not opting to force the issue, as Yotar does channel just in time, removing the imminent lethal threat. But it is going to continue to become a more dire situation in the core of the Illidancing Queens. They're down to just 8 health and are down a healer, so they could be down to 4 if Durotan's Couch wants a boss.
So I want to point out a couple of things. They did get the kill out onto Born. They had just previously gotten another kill as well, so they were in effect up 2 bodies at that point, and they had all 5 members defending their effectively free cap in the top lane. I really would have liked to have seen them rotate a couple of members down and try to put pressure into the spot fort, not necessarily to take it before the objective, but just to take and to hold it, because that would put them into such a strong position going into future objectives that we see are going to spawn in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and that's where you want to make your kill pressure happen, is in this bottom lane. Force the team to not even have a well to retreat to or a fort to retreat to. That's why the bot lane is so important overall. Do you see the 4v4 possibly breaking out? Good time trap does hit 2, and cost Pina Colada a lot of health. Actually, percent of that health bar. Dark conversion fails again as the 3/4 second channel time just continues to be such a hassle for that ultimate.
Death is the best form of crowd control, interrupting almost all abilities. Projectiles obviously still go through after death, but that's a really strong position coming out from the side of Durotan's Couch as this objective is spawning in the bottom lane, and they now have a very strong point of defense, and equally as important, they removed a point of offense from the side of their opponents, and at least as important, they're up level 20s. So we see the improved Hyperion and also Unstoppable on Inspire. We've got the Contagion splashing that isolation going out. The isolations have mostly been hitting onto one person in team fights, but if they do hit someone in a team fight, that's an extremely powerful ability. And Sand Pierce. What more to say about it? It's so incredibly strong. If you ever have an ability that increases the strength of your basic abilities on 20, it's usually a good pick.
Yep. And now look at this. This is actually kind of crazy. We are having a boss fight break out, but it was Illidancing Queens trying to force it to start. Captain Wedge gets tethered, but is going to be able to burrow out and use the Lurker's Strain to escape the threat. There goes Zool getting taken out. Even around the cage, big jailhouse rock going out. Light Bomb finishes it off. 3 kills on the side of Durotan's Couch. Make it a 4th with the Mal'Ganis going down. Hooked on Phoenix will need the godliest resets in the entire Nexus to be able to defend this one, and it looks like the boss is going to confirm the game here for Durotan's Couch.
So, for me, that's the type of call where I look at it and I go, I get it. I know what you're going for, and it just didn't work out for them. They wanted to remove that boss off the field so their opponents couldn't get it to win. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to do that in time, and it ended up costing them the win. But you can totally see where they were coming from. Well played by both teams. GG's, Durotan's Couch taking it 2-1 over the Illidancing Queens.
Yeah, and that was a really good series overall. I mean, that was back and forth in pretty much every game. I think that was the most... I mean, we had slightly more one-sided games, but each team had one of them. And yeah, it was just a really fantastic series overall. Both teams showing signs where they were clearly the dominant team, and other times where they had some struggles. So I think that's a great learning match for both teams.
Yeah, you can see match 1 very even on kills. Illidancing Queens up 1 kill but lost the series. Match number 2, Illidancing Queens up by 2 digits of kills over Durotan's Couch, and then we see game 3, Durotan's Couch now up 10 kills over the Illidancing Queens. So very back and forth. I think that ends up being a net 1 kill for the side of the Illidancing Queens, but a net 1 game for the favor of Durotan's Couch.
Yeah, and I think the kills a little less important than the games, unless you're getting into the second-tier tiebreakers, in which case, well, tactics. That's all I have to say.
I mean, if you're looking at those Stats of the Storm summaries, kills are real important.
Oh, of course. targets. I mean, all the best teams have the most kills, so all I have to do is get more kills and we'll be the best, right?
Big Nexus think right there. We do have confirmation that we're going to get a post-game interview with the one and only Captain Wedge, who is now joining us in the captain's lobby, violating the 2-person limit.
Freaking board members. They
yeah.
think they can go wherever they want.
Actually,
Admin
a
privileges,
wizard.
baby.
So congratulations, Wedge, your Team Durotan's couch, winning the Battle of the Boards. How you feeling?
Oh, man. That was a wild series.
Sure was.
I was not expecting that Tomb game to go as it did. Like, we've normally been playing really well against Deathwing, and then they gave us a reason to respect the Deathwing.
And Ariel. There's
Ariel.
too many bannable targets there. They just had too much OP. I mean...
And the Jaina, too, to boot.
And the Maya.
It was just...
why didn't you just ban 5 heroes?
Me and Born should have just negotiated something where it's like, alright, we have to bring out all the spicy heroes and no quality heroes allowed.
You say that, but you banned out all of the auto attack heroes, so how are they going to run Tassadar?
Because they normally run Tassadar. Tassadar is their
know!
Exactly.
But they're the only ones doing it. So it's spicy to us.
Hey, we've brought out the Tassadar before. They're not the only.
Yeah, but not 2 digits.
They've done it 10 times.
But they've done it successfully. We haven't.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Alrighty, so game number 1 was actually very close. Illidancing Queens, I think, won in kills by 1, but obviously you guys were able to win the series. What do you attribute that to, do you think? Even though they took you very even on team fights, it looked like, for the most part, your team was ahead most of the game.
For that game 1, I think it was us, like, making sure that exactly what we were talking about in the coin flip was tactical feats. Leoric dying and coming back faster than or just as fast as an Ariel res in the middle of the team fight. So, can't say no to that. But I think a big part of that was our rotation game was going really well, and we did a good job of like getting to the objective just on time. Because if we were late and trying to go up into objective against their Joe and their Blaze, we would have been toast. So
you say that, but that's exactly the team fight you guys took on the first objective, and you made it very successfully.
I mean, sometimes cocktails work out really well as Greymane.
That's also true.
And corruption stacks are pretty nice too.
So how much Leoric do you play? Because it almost kind of feels like you anticipate the trait value. Because you took a couple of questionable rotations. There was a lot of times where you're just kind of out really forward, and you're Leo. You just kind of come back.
Yeah, like those first 2 games, I was playing super aggro in my rotations because for whatever reason I wasn't thinking. And props to Illidancing Queens, like they always punish me every single time I decided to take the one bad rotation. So they definitely had my number for that.
There was one time in that second game on Tomb where you're in the bottom lane, everyone else on your team is in the top lane, but all the members of Illidancing Queens find you in the bottom lane. And it looked for all the world like you just took your hands off the keyboard and mouse. Like you didn't do anything but auto attack, and that's because the game kind of makes you.
I mean, I'm gonna say Born put a bounty on my head for that one.
Yeah, wanted dead.
Once I saw like, okay, everyone's coming to the left, I've got a chance if I run to the right, and then I saw Jaina running from the right. It's like, all right, well, this is my life. I'm gonna stay here.
Oh no, I didn't mean the time where you found yourself behind their fort. That's a whole different.
No. The one where I was. Yeah, that one was. That one was on me.
Yeah.
The one when they flanked me bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just. Yeah. The Jaina on the right side. It's like, well, I don't have a chance of making it all the way back. Toast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it feels a little monk asking what happened, because map 2 wasn't particularly close, to be frank. It was very in their favor.
No, map 2 was us trying to engage with the Johanna, which it's normally not how things go well for us. We normally do a lot better when we play a bit more defensively, but I think that honestly comes down to Illidancing Queens, like taking full advantage of the comp they have and making sure to punish. Like they did a really good job of cutting off our rotations and getting us in like outnumbered fights. They definitely capitalized on that.
For sure. And then game number 3, you guys opted for first hero pick. They took you to Towers of Doom. How do you feel that Durotan's couch plays on that map? And were you expecting that map choice from them?
I mean, Towers of Doom is normally one of our bans, so I was really hoping that they would play nice and respect that. But I guess Born just wanted to make us suffer, so. Honestly, we weren't expecting that. We were expecting much more likely a Volskaya or even a BOE because they also like to play BOE. But I think after us banning Vala, they probably wanted to back off a bit from the BOE plan.
Makes sense. But in the end, it ended up working out pretty well in your favor. They ended up going into a double soak Zool comp. Is that something that you were anticipating them trying going through the draft?
No, but I must say that Big Egg Roll is very jealous because he was the one that's been wanting to bring up the Zool like all season.
It's genuinely
so once he saw
good
that, he was like,
map.
"Guys, why haven't we done this yet?" Even they're doing it. Come on.
And in all, it worked out pretty well for you. Obviously, Zool gets more value in the soak aspect. Jahaka kind of can't really keep up in clearing lanes versus Azul, but you just brought so much value in those team fights and making the quick rotations with the Z instead of physically hoofing it across the map like Zool has to do. So not beating Zool out in soak from a soak perspective, but getting more value overall. You actually ended up with more XP contribution than the Zool did by the end of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we got lucky because having the Dahaka made it a lot easier for us to not have to worry as much about forcing a fight. Whereas I think Illidancing Queens might have been feeling that they had a bit more pressure to force a fight. So I think that was that helped us a lot as well. We were able to just take things a lot more at our pace, and especially considering we're not normally used to playing Towers of Doom. That was very nice to be able to have things go that way.
All right, Wedge, I'm gonna have to put a request on you.
A request?
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to sit down with Soln.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and ask him why he hates swords. He played Anduin 3 games in a row, and not a single time did he Divine Star the front wall before the game starts so he can run around with that sword the whole game.
So they could be running around with scissors?
Yes.
Honestly, I think Solon is just too much of a classy gentleman. He can't be seen with a visual bug like that.
What's classier than swords? Come on now. All right, well, thank you very much, Captain Wedge, for coming on. Ace, do you have anything else?
Not particularly. That was just a really fun set. I guess I will have one question, because I was wondering how you guys were going to deal with what's your ban strategy going into Game 3? They threaten the Vala. You also have to deal with a Deathwing, possibly an Ariel, plus a Maiev that's been getting a lot of value. What was your priority, or why did you go with what you did?
So, I think priority is first pick, because then they have to ban the Ariel.
Right. So they did.
Reasonable.
After that, I think it's more so we wanted to force them onto heroes that they haven't played as much, so that's why we prioritized the Vala so much. And then Hooked on Phoenix was just absolutely making our lives super miserable with the Jaina, so that's why that one jumped up in the priority for us.
Okay, so you did think it was just analyze it as Jaina over Maiev being the larger threat.
Yeah, just because we feel like a combination of the Maiev making the Jaina better and the Jaina making the Maiev better. So if we just remove one of those pieces and we decided to go for what we thought was the more versatile piece, that would just make it easier for us to handle it all.
Very reasonable.
Fair enough.
So at this time, we're going to throw it over to you, Captain Wedge. Do you have any shout-outs that you want to give to your adoring viewers in Twitch chat? And I see several members of your team adding to the commentary as well.
I'd like to shout out to Afish. I promise we'll eventually find you. You may have disappeared into the couch somewhere, but we will find you. Shout out to you guys, obviously. Really appreciate it picking up this cast. I'm going to love rewatching this series. Shout out to Illidancing Queens. This was a fun series. I'm really glad that we got to end like the season, or have this towards the end of the season. Especially shout out to Hooked on Phoenix. Like the entire game, he was making our lives super miserable. And then Big Egg Roll stepping things up a lot at the end with the moshes. That made life real nice for us.
Alrighty, well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for providing very entertaining games, and congratulations on moving up into the number 6 position over your foes, the Illidancing Queens. There. Actually, nope, I can't math. They are still one above you because they got a point this series. So they're at 14 and you were at 13. So
that's just salt in the wound, Ektar.
If you're able to bring it to a tie, you'll have that head-to-head advantage, though.
All right, that's true. That's true.
And you have bragging rights advantage one way or the other, so
for sure.
That's
I get to hold this over Born for a full season, so that's great.
I'm surprised I don't see anything in NGS leadership about this match yet.
Hey, you guys are priority number 1 right now.
Aww.
We appreciate that. Winks at the computer monitor. The computer monitor's like, you're weird. I'll have a webcam in here. They can't see me.
Big facts.
It's nothing new that the couch hasn't seen.
That's fair. All right, but that is going to be it for us, I think, tonight. We may have a POV stream coming out later. Thank you, Wildcard, for the follow. Really appreciate it. Yeah, we Lurk Patrol, so Ace and I actually have a match coming up here in just under 2 hours. If it has not been picked up, there's a very realistic chance that it's going to be POV streamed right here. Thank you also, Wedge, for the follow. I really appreciate it. And Ace, where can people find you when you're not casting with me?
Twitch.tv/7thace is where I live. Go visit there for non-Heroes of the Storm content. Smile. And hopefully we won't be a crying Maiev stream at some point in the future.
I mean, at some point in the distant future, she'll just get an actual rework, and then it'll be a whole different kind of salty tier Maiev stream.
Heavy breathing.
But yeah, thank you everyone for coming by. Normally I have the webcam set up, but I'm super happy with my new emote, so I decided to use that as the icon for today. And Ace using the regular tier emote, the Ektar Shock. If you're unfamiliar, that is a Carbot Zergling wearing a Pikachu costume. Because
being surprised.
I love Carbot animations and everything he's ever done, and he is in fact my best friend, like he asserts. But that is going to be it for the stream, I think. Thank you, Solon, for the follow, and I think that's about it. We're out of here.
I think that was one of the best series we've had all season.
Very good.
Great. Thank you for the entertaining games. Thanks for joining, Ektar.
And thanks for the follows.